Welcome to the tab. We're gonna be talking about the ESPN's list, the top 74 list. I'm Joey.
I'm Ben.
I'm Travis.
Y'all ready to do this?
I'm ready when
Let's get
you are.
into it.
All right. So have you guys seen the list?
Um,
I've
I'm
seen,
sitting on the title. I haven't
I've
looked
s-
at it.
I've seen number 75 and I've seen number 74. I
Which
mean
one's
All
number
right.
75?
74 and number 73.
All right. So let's do these first four, 74 through 70, and we can take it by 10 from there.
Okay,
That sound good?
that sounds
Yeah.
great.
Okay. So 74, Artist Gilmore. Any thoughts there?
Um, no.
I have one. So, he played his first 5 seasons in the ABA. So, should those five
Yes.
seasons be counted towards the NBA, or are they counted or no?
I mean, so I think they still factor in all those things to like NBA players, like
hmm
to their career statistics. I'm not quite sure because the ABA merged into the NBA,
Yeah,
but
that's
don't
just
hold me to that.
only thought on that. Average
Before
18 and
Okay.
12.
before we do this, what exactly? I'm gonna read this. ESPN's NBA export panel voted on thousands of head-to-head matchups, taking into consideration both career value and peak performance. Okay.
So yeah,
All
just
right,
on that.
73 Dikembe Mutombo, 72 Damian Lillard, 71 Bob Lanier, and 70 Tony Parker. So how
Wait.
how do you
So
guys feel about? Hmm?
keep going.
How do you guys feel about Damian Lillard being 72nd all time?
I feel like if Damian Lillard is 72nd and Carmelo Anthony is not on this list, then that's a big miss. That's a big mistake.
I agree. I don't see in what universe Damian Lillard is higher all time than Carmelo Anthony.
You think Damian Lillard's
I
a
can't see that.
100, top 100 all time?
Yo, that's what I was thinking. Like,
Like I've
so Damian Lillard is a great talent. He's having a great season this year. I think he's averaging like 29 and 8. But
he had a
I
great month of
mean,
January. That's about
he's
it.
had he's had a great few years, honestly. But I mean, what has it led to? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know Melo only got to the conference finals one time, but they may have very well won the NBA championship if they didn't run into Kobe Bryant.
Damian Lillard has benefited from two unbelievable moments that a lot of top 50 players have never had in his series winning shot against Houston and series winning shot against Oklahoma City last year. And so those two moments I think have catapulted him much higher than he should ever be. I think it's something akin to Eli Manning's two Finals MVPs, even though Damian Lillard is a much better regular season player
hmm
than Eli Manning is. But those two moments, since they were so like such great moments, they might get Eli Manning into the Hall of Fame
hmm
and gotten Damian Lillard a higher than Carmelo Anthony in the top 72 player of all time.
Just on that point, if you go down two more spots to Tony Parker at 70,
Yeah,
he's
I
got
was gonna
what, one
place it
Finals
next to Tony
MVP.
Parker.
Tony
Yeah,
Parker
5
has 5 rings.
championships.
He's got a Finals MVP,
He
doesn't
he
he?
finished he finished top 5 in MVP, but like 2 or 3 times, I believe.
Has the
I'm not
but
sure where Dame sits there.
I have a question. Is Chauncey Billups on this list? Is is
I
um
don't believe so.
is Paul Pierce ahead of Tony Parker?
We'll see
Is
as we move
I
forward.
mean
But I don't think that who is the first player you said? Chauncey Billups?
Chauncey Billups?
Yeah, I don't think he's on this list.
Do you,
Don't hold
do,
me to that, but I don't think he is.
do you think he is? Well, I guess Tony Parker.
I think Damian Lillard is better than Tony Parker and is better than Chauncey Billups. But I know there's a difference between being better than like just a straight list of who's better when it comes
Yeah,
to an all-time list because that's everything across the board.
yeah.
Okay.
yeah, but I mean, just that big jump between them that's pretty notable. You got it, Joey?
So I think Tony Parker's in a good area. I mean, he has 5 championships. Can't really argue with that.
Yeah.
He was solid
Is,
for
is
many
Robert
years.
Horry on
Yeah.
this list?
No.
Shut up.
Yeah, he was what,
Alright.
second, third option most of the time?
No, he was never even a top 5 option.
He won a
Okay,
Finals MVP. He ran.
Robert Horry did not win a Finals MVP.
I know. I'm just saying. No, I'm talking about Tony Parker. He was the second, third option.
Oh yeah, Tony Parker. You said Robert Horry, my bad.
No, but I meant after that, Tony Parker. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I know. All right, yeah. Tony Parker was, I'd say he was probably the 3rd option most of the time.
Tony
Because
Parker?
I mean, yeah, I feel like Ginobili was looked
What was MVP year?
to more of the scorer.
Not MVP year, but MVP caliber year.
Let me pull up the stats. Let me see. He was very solid.
My
one
mother
season.
freaking board.
Tony Parker.
I feel like Tony Parker was a let's look at what Tony Parker 15-5 or basically 16-6. Try to do
Tony Parker's best season in the NBA came in 08-09. He averaged 22 points a game, 7 assists, 1 steal, and 3 boards on 51% shooting and 29% from 3.
51% shooting from the guard position is pretty solid.
That's very good.
If
And he didn't add a good jump shot to the end of his career either.
Yeah, but I mean, he ran offense, and that wasn't what they needed. So they had shooters.
Yeah.
let me ask y'all this question: Are y'all okay? Who do y'all think has a better case to be on this list? Damian Lillard or Kyrie Irving?
Damian, no, yeah, bro. I was thinking about this today, actually. Kyrie Irving hit one of the 10 best shots in NBA history. I mean, you can look at Dame's 2-game winners, but they weren't in Game 7 at the NBA Finals.
Yeah, he's never even been to a final.
Yeah, again, I think from what I've seen the past few years, I mean, statistically and just leading a team, Damian Lillard has been better than Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have more to see with Kyrie, but
But
He's
the thing,
also
he's a very complicated person to discuss.
the thing also is the last few years, all those things have been the same for Damian Lillard over Russell Westbrook, as far as leadership, as far as being a team player. And I guarantee you, Russell Westbrook is top 50 on this list. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And Westbrook has the MVP, but he has one good finals performance. Kyrie Irving, I know he was the second option to LeBron James, but that's still 3 straight finals appearances that you don't know if they get to without him. You know.
Well, also another thing with Kyrie though, he got out of Cleveland. His first year with Boston, he gets hurt. Then they make a run to the conference finals.
Yeah.
I mean, it was almost a kind of a Cinderella run because it was led by 2 rookies. But then this next season, he's healthy. Then the second round, he puts up a dreadful performance.
Yeah.
So it's very complicated. This year, he's been hurt the whole season.
Yeah.
I think he was deactivated for the rest of the season. So if the season resumes, he might be able to return. I'm not sure because, there's been a big layoff. So, I mean, I'm interested to see because KD's already said he's not coming back even if the season resumes. So if he comes back for the playoffs, I'm interested to see how that unfolds, especially it being in the Eastern Conference.
Dang, the Nets got like $60 million between KD and Kyrie and barely played this year.
Yeah.
It's
Let's
tough.
move on.
So let's move to 69 through 60.
Nice.
So
How about you just
Bernard
say
King.
them? Yeah, you just say them all to 60, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay,
Everything.
that's what I was going to do.
Yeah. Okay. My fault.
Bernard King, Pete Maravich, Alex English, Dave Cowens, Pau Gasol, Earl Monroe, Alonzo Mourning, Dennis Rodman, Robert Parrish, and Willis Reed. First thoughts.
Y'all think Rodman goes higher?
I don't think Dennis Rodman is the top 100 player of all time.
Really?
I don't really.
Not even in terms of greatness, because that is a component in here. Like, we're not just talking about
I
talent.
do, I do,
He had 26
but
rebounds and no points that one time. A couple times, probably.
but he didn't have a very long peak per se.
He
It
was
took
good
him
in
a while to
Detroit
catch on. It took him a while to catch on Detroit, and so his career with the Spurs isn't much talked about at all.
because it was so
Uh,
short.
I mean, it was 3 seasons. It's only one season less than he was with Chicago. But
Yeah.
I mean, for his career he averaged 7 and 13.
Yeah, I'm looking at
But
this.
he was also a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Won 5
But
rings.
it's hard to discuss him because how would he have fared if he wasn't on 2 all-time great teams? He would have been forgotten about. He just would have been this really great rebounder, but
He led the
most
NBA
of his
rebounding
success.
for 7
Yeah,
years straight.
that's what I'm saying though. But without those teams around him, there's nothing much to talk about there.
Mm.
He played with the bad boy Pistons and then the
As a
greatest
rookie.
dynasty in NBA history.
You know who I
The
think
bad
about
boy
when I think
Pistons, it was not with him. It was not him as a rookie. That wasn't until '89. That was his 4th year in the league.
when I think about Dennis Rodman, the
I didn't look at that. My bad, Joey.
the comparison I think about in terms of football, I don't know if you guys know who Charles Haley is,
Mhm.
but Charles Haley was a great defensive end who was the first player in NFL history before Tom Brady to have 5 Super Bowl championships. And he obviously was a locker room problem per se. And so that's why he hopped so many different teams. But his greatness on the floor, his greatness on the field of play was never in question. And I don't think that was ever the thing with Dennis Rodman. Like, Dennis Rodman's ability, especially on the defensive end, was so like, you're not able to quantify it in stats, you know? And so
Mm.
I think that I think he is on par in terms of talent, in terms of knowledge of the game. I think Draymond Green is probably a more cerebral player, but in terms of just greatness and everything combined, I don't know if Draymond Green is on this list, which I believe he should be, a top 75, then Dennis Rodman isn't.
All right, hold up. So
Another thing.
this list is based on head-to-head matchups and total career value and peak performance.
Head-to-head
And looking at
matchups.
that, yeah. So I think pitting one player against each other. I think that's what they mean. And if that's the
Okay.
case, I don't think Dennis Rodman should be on this list.
That's my next talking point. Pau Gasol under Alonzo Mourning. Who would you rather have?
Pau Gasol. I'm biased as a Lakers
I know
fan,
that.
but
I know.
I'd take Pau Gasol.
That was both when y'all both started watching basketball. Was the Gasol Kobe duo?
Well,
This
all right. So career numbers, they're roughly the same.
Lonzo's got 1 championship, but he did hit a series winner to give Charlotte their first playoff series
All
win.
right.
Was that the only one, if I'm not mistaken?
To be fair, Alonzo Mourning's only championship, he was an afterthought.
Yeah, he was on the 06 Heat. So
Yeah. Yeah, he did not play a big role in that team at all.
he averaged 3.6 blocks 1 year in his career.
Yeah, he was a great rim protector. I think he belongs
2.8
on
for a
this
career
list.
too. But
He
would y'all
says
rather?
I would
says he
personally put
won
Gasol ahead of him.
DPOY twice too. Says he won DPOY twice too.
Yeah, he was a great rim protector.
Yep. 3.8 blocks at his peak, 2.8 for his career. Would y'all put Pau Gasol higher? I know he's not really more of a rim protector, but more of a offensive threat.
Well, Pau Gasol is also an amazing passer, a very underrated passer. Yeah. But I mean, Kobe probably doesn't have 5 rings. Kobe would only have 4 championships if it wasn't for Gasol in Game 7, 2010. Mourning never really contributed to a championship per se, as as in the way Gasol did. And Gasol had like an amazing career outside of the Lakers too.
Yeah,
He
six-time
was great
All-Star.
with Memphis. Yeah, he was great with Memphis, and I think he was All-Star even that year with the Chicago Bulls in 2014, right after he left LA.
Why do y'all think the championship on the resume of a player means so much more in terms of elevating their rank on a list like this in basketball than in football or in a different sport? Because I feel like that's like the one thing that you have to have in basketball.
For
Because
basketball,
it's like one.
I mean, yeah, there's still team sports, but there's 10 people on the court instead of 22 on the field. Even though you're also playing both ways in
It's
basketball.
also a 7-game series in the NBA.
Yeah, you play more games.
But like, what does that mean? Does that mean that the best team always wins? Does that mean that
Well,
if you're better, then
but
you're
most of
just
the time in the NBA, if everyone's healthy, I'd say 95% of the time the best team will win the playoff series. That's just how it works. Because in a 7-game series, if you're not the better team, that means you're going to have to upset the other team 4 times.
yeah.
But also, like going back to what Ben said, I mean, there's only 10 people on the court, so one person can pretty much win a game.
You get a lot more touches in basketball too. I'll also say that I mean, unless you're a quarterback, obviously in the NFL, you get a lot more touches compared to being a receiver in any position on a basketball court.
Okay.
Because I mean, Michael Thomas set the receiving record for receptions this year, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember what the number was, but I mean,
I saw something that was like Michael Thomas is the best receiver in this division, and it's like something else. I was like, dog, Michael Thomas is the
Julio?
third best receiver in this division.
You think
Like,
Chris Godwin's better than him?
I think Mike Evans is better than him.
Oh,
I think Chris Godwin's the same.
I think Chris Godwin's better than Mike Evans.
You can put. I feel like if you replace
I won't,
Chris Godwin with Michael Thomas,
I won't say that because
Chris
Michael
Godwin
Thomas.
has a better. I'm sorry, has a better season than Michael Thomas.
I won't say that because Chris Godwin. Oh, my fault, Ben. My fault.
No, go ahead.
Because Chris Godwin had one season and Michael Thomas has had like 2 or 3 like really strong seasons. But Mike Evans and Julio Jones are Julio Jones is fringe number 1 of the decade, and Mike Evans is fringe top 10 of the decade. And Michael Thomas just got here. You know what I'm saying?
He's been here.
And he's not more physically talented than either of them. He's not faster. He's not faster. He's not a better route runner. Like I don't want to hear any of that.
Guys, we're getting off topic.
My fault.
All right.
Continue.
59 through 50.
Yeah. So Bob McAdoo, Manu Ginobili, Clyde Drexler, Ray Allen, Vince Carter, Paul Pierce, Gary Payton, Tracy McGrady, James Worthy, Wes Unseld.
How you go first?
All right, bro. This list is terrible.
Yo. James Worthy, 51? Are you kidding me? Tracy McGrady better than Gary Payton, Paul Pierce. He is better than those guys. Like if they play 1-on-1, Tracy McGrady.
At his peak. You gotta specify
at his peak. But if we're talking about greatness, we're talking about everything, right? Vince Carter. I mean, Vince Carter's.
Well, remember, peak performance was brought into this list, and total career value was also brought in. And Tracy McGrady had
I want to go back. Actually,
great years.
I want to go back.
The rest of his career was mediocre.
I want to go back at the top of the 50s. We got Manu Ginobili at 58. Y'all rather have Ginobili or Parker? Prime.
Parker.
He's a point guard.
And he's also Ginobili only has 4.
I don't think Ginobili should be higher than Tony Parker.
I don't think he should be 22. Like, what is it? 14,
12 spots.
12 spots higher. My fault. I can't count. But, like, that's just, yeah.
Great system. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have Tony Parker over Ginobili only because he ran that system one longer, one extra team.
I mean, yeah, and Tony Parker was also an MVP candidate. He had more All-Star appearances.
And the Finals MVP. I mean, you can't disregard that.
Yeah, I don't know where they're getting at here.
I mean, Manu.
Also, guys, I'm not sure how I'm outraged at this one. I think Clyde Drexler is too low. Why is Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady ahead of Clyde Drexler and James Worthy?
And James Worthy being outside of the top 50, I think, is inexcusable.
And also, I love Vince Carter, but I mean, if you're looking at like peak performance and career value, Vince Carter had a good 8 years, his first 8 years in the league, and the last 15 years he has been in the league, he's been he's been a good starter for the last 15 years, but not even like the last like 5 or 6, he's been a role player the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he really needs to be this high on the list. If he's going to be on this list, I'd drop him back into the 70s. I feel like he's really catapulted by his dunk contest. If you take that out from his career, I don't think he would ever be pitted on this list.
I think a top 10 3-point makes all time.
Yeah.
Did Clyde Drexler ever win a championship? No.
Yes.
Was
he
the
won with
best?
Houston in 95? No, he wasn't the best player. He's the second best player on that team. But he got to the finals. He got to the finals that faced Jordan in 92? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Year for 3 years.
Yeah. That was look at the Clippers uniforms. Gosh, they garbage. Anyway.
But what about Ray Allen?
That's another thing. Why is Vince Carter higher than Ray Allen?
My point. Ray Allen had a series.
Tracy McGrady's higher than Ray Allen. Like, this is blasphemy.
Yeah, this isn't good.
He was the last Seattle Supersonic to score 50. And he's number 1 in 3-point makes all time. Number 1.
I don't understand.
Okay. Y'all read.
How do you feel about Paul Pierce being 54?
I was just about to say that. Read his bio. The truth may not have looked flashy doing it, but he was one of the most durable and smooth scorers of this century. He also proved to be arguably the greatest foil of LeBron James' career, besting him in the 2008 and 2010 NBA playoffs. Those games are not remembered for Paul Pierce besting LeBron James. They are remembered for the Celtics besting LeBron James. That's like saying Isaiah Thomas is remembered for besting Michael Jordan in the late 80s. No, he's not. The team, it was the definition.
Wait, and one of those game clinchers, I think Pierce and LeBron like exchanged 40 pieces. I'm not sure.
I'm not saying Paul Pierce wasn't the primary scorer on that team. I'm just saying that wasn't the marquee. Yeah. That's not Kevin Durant versus LeBron James. Like it was never Paul Pierce versus LeBron James. It was Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Rajon Rondo against LeBron James.
My favorite.
And even in 2008, it wasn't Rondo yet.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about Paul Pierce, y'all remember the game where he hurt his knee and they thought it tore his ACL and they carted him off in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And walking out the tunnel.
He just had to
shit himself. Yeah.
His pants.
Oh, I'm sorry for my language.
What did you say, Joey?
Nah.
Joey cursed. He apologized.
He his pants. So I thought that was pretty funny, and that's just my favorite Paul Pierce moment. That he probably shit his pants in the middle of an NBA game.
All right. So let's move to 49 through 40. Reggie Miller, Bill Walton, George Gervin, Dominique Wilkins, Anthony Davis, Elvin Hayes, Rick Barry, Russell Westbrook, Bob Cousy, and that's it for there. We'll have to move on to the next list after this one.
Dog, Anthony Davis on this
First
list.
thoughts.
No hate, but like he's 27. He's won one playoff.
Yeah. I love Anthony Davis. He's too high.
It is so hard for me to understand what they are basing this off of. Like
bro, I don't understand either.
Like, are you basing
if you're
it off
going by his peak so far, bro? Yeah. But I mean, overall throughout his career, though, I mean, he hasn't done much contributing to team success.
Almost everyone on this list has accolades, and I'm not trying to go against them, but
just has some all-star appearances and stuff.
You need to have a lot of accolades to be considered great, and Anthony Davis does not have those. He's a great player now, and don't get me wrong, maybe by the time he's retired, he should definitely be on this list. But he's 27. He's played 7 years in the league. I don't think it's time to call him number 45 on an all-time greats list.
Who is he above?
Rick Barry, Dominique Wilkins, George Gervin, Bill Walton, Reggie Miller, James Worthy.
James Worthy. Come on, man. Don't say Paul Pierce.
Ray Allen? Ginobili? Players with multiple championships under their belt.
Pau Gasol.
Like I have no doubt that Anthony Davis is probably better than all of those players, but he just doesn't have the accolades to go with it. Nothing really to show for it.
Nothing at all.
And I mean, if or when the season resumes, I mean, he'll probably add a defensive player of the year to that. And I mean, you never know; he might get a championship. But
let's say he gets a championship. Let's say he get a championship, Finals MVP, and defensive player of the year on the same year. Who was the last player to do that?
Yeah, that would justify that. That would justify the ranking. But then again, he doesn't have it yet.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we feel about Dominique Wilkins, Gervin, and Walton and Miller being behind him there? So Reggie Miller is also kind of a weird topic for me. I feel like he's one of the 10 most overrated players in NBA history.
Overrated?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
He was never a top 10 player in the league. He had some of the best moments in NBA history. He
was never a top 10 player in the league?
No.
Late 90s, those games against the Bulls, he wasn't top 10?
No.
Sorry, guys.
I'll pull up his career. Let me pull up his career numbers.
No, I want you to tell me the players that are better than him in 1998.
Better than who? I'm sorry.
1998.
Better than Reggie Miller.
I'll look at NBA All Stars 1998.
Now, just go over what y'all talked about a second ago. Just Reggie Miller. What about him?
You said he wasn't a top
10. In 1998, Reggie Miller was an All-Star reserve. So from that team, the 10 players I'll say that were better than him: Michael Jordan, Grant Hill, Sean Kemp, Penny Hardaway. Let me see: Gary Payton, Kevin Garnett, Shaq, Karl Malone, David Robinson, Tim Duncan. I mean, that's 10 right there, isn't it?
What was this?
Sean Kemp?
98.
Yeah.
I mean, that was close.
For you underrated Sean Kemp in 98.
Sean Kemp.
That was closer to the end of his career. How was he right there?
In 98, what did Sean Kemp average? Let me scroll over. In 98, Sean Kemp averaged 18 and 10 on a block and 1 steal game. Now let me pull up Reggie Miller. I truly believe Reggie Miller's been played by a few great playoff performances similar to Dame Lillard. Reggie Miller doesn't have a championship either.
Neither does a lot of people.
So Reggie Miller in 98 averaged 19 and a half a game. 19, 2, and 2.
What year was this? 98?
98. The year they took the Bulls 7.
I mean, what year?
I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you, but I think Reggie Miller is I don't know where you think he's rated. And do you think he should be on the same level as a Sean Kemp all time?
He's
No,
all time.
but you told me pick that time, and yeah, then Sean Kemp was better than I'd say.
I mean, like all time. Like, where do you think Reggie Miller is rated all time? If you think he's overrated,
Probably 70s, 80s. He was only a 6-time All-Star. All right, he doesn't have any accolades either. He was only a
98.
Reggie Miller's a 5-time All-Star and 3-time All-NBA team.
it is also like the 3-point Don before there was a 3-point Don.
Yeah, he was Reggie Miller.
He was a horrid defender though.
Yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of poor defenders. So Allen Iverson was a poor defender.
Would y'all compare him to Ray Allen before Ray Allen?
I think that's what everybody does. That's what they did. Reggie and then Ray and then Steph Curry before he became what he became. Obviously,
how the game was, like they weren't shooting volume threes all the time like they do today.
I don't think Bill Walton should be this high either. Bill Walton at his peak is definitely a top 50 player all time.
Ain't that beard trash?
He won the MVP award. A lot of people don't know that.
Never washed his hair.
You say he probably musty.
Never washed his hair.
He was a hippie, bro.
Yeah.
Like actually.
Yeah.
I think Dominique's in a good spot.
Anthony Davis is right in front of him.
I don't think Anthony Davis is in the right spot, but Dominique's in a good spot. So
I know you're biased.
Rick Barry. So Rick Barry's also weird to talk about too, because his best years came in the ABA.
Yeah.
Rick Barry was a bucket, bro.
Yeah, he did be just shooting to make a lot.
See, it says here in 1966, he averaged 35.6 points a game and was 12-time All-Star, Finals MVP in 1975, and career averages of 25, 7, and 5. And he shot free throws underhanded, bro.
Westbrook or Kuzi?
Westbrook, bro. I know it's a different era of basketball, but Bob Cousy averaged like 18 a game on 37% shooting. I don't care if it's the 50s, bro. He shot 37%.
Russell really had one of the best MVP years. I don't care what anybody says.
Off of personal success, it probably might be the best of all time, besides Robertson.
I mean, they made a 6 seed that year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, off of just like personal success, it might be the best ever.
But I feel like without him on that team lands the number 1 draft pick.
I don't know, bro.
Let's move on.
All right.
Okay.
List these, and I gotta go let my dog in real quick.
I gotta change the list.
So we do gotta change that.
Okay. All right. 40 to 30 is Chris Paul, Walt Frazier, Bob Pettit, Patrick Ewing, Kevin McHale, Jason Kidd, George Mikan, John Havlicek, James Harden, Isaiah Thomas, and Steve Nash. First thoughts.
Steve Nash shouldn't be over Isaiah Thomas or Chris Paul.
There's a lot of older players.
Yes and no. Yes and no there. I think Steve Nash should be over Chris Paul, but under Isaiah Thomas.
I feel like we can't put modern players other than players like LeBron, KD, and Steph on this list until their careers are over.
Are you referring to James
Who,
Harden?
like Chris Paul?
I mean, but he's been in the league for over 10 years.
James Harden's been in the league for 10 years.
I know, I'm just saying. But, I mean, he hasn't played at a high level for 10 years.
Sure.
Like,
I would personally move. No, I think Chris Paul's in a good spot. Walt Frazier did win 2 championships.
Harden's the number 32. What was the phrase at the beginning of this article? Career greatness.
It was it was like players versus other like matchups. Then total career value and peak performance.
Harden's gonna give you a bucket no matter what. And,
you know who Harden reminds me of?
Give me 1 second.
Joey?
Go ahead.
No. Harden reminds me of Drake. Like, Harden, I want to find a reason to not have Harden this high. Because I still can't believe how fast he went from role player or third option on the 2012 Thunder team to top 10 scorer of all time and averaging 37 points a game. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't understand how Drake went from Lil Wayne's little homie to the biggest artist in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Not true. He's not the biggest artist in the world.
As far as like just buzz and just streams and everything it comes out with, it's just like just it's all that
He's
stuff.
He's still not the biggest artist in the world. When you bring that in,
I'm just saying he's the biggest rap artist in the world. Like as far as okay. That's not the argument. What I'm saying is he like him and James have made such big jumps that take a lot of people a lot longer. That's all I'm saying. And like I was gonna liken it to Steph Curry, but Steph Curry's his legacy is a little bit more interesting than that to me.
Joe, you saw this whole list, right?
Yeah.
Is Giannis on this list?
Yes.
No.
We'll have a discussion about that. We'll have a discussion about that. So I think Ewing's in a good space. So is Bob Pettit. Bob Pettit was very good.
They got a
different
lot
era, but he was still very good.
On this one, Jason Kidd, he's
McHale. Kevin McHale, I'd probably move him back to the 40s. I couldn't put him over Dominique. I mean, he does have 3 rings, but he was also second option. I mean, it's a complicated thing. But I don't have any major problems with him in that area.
Listen to Bob Pettit's resume. Played 11 seasons and got All-NBA first team. I mean, I know it was the 50s and 60s, but still. Playing 11 10 of them, pretty damn impressive. Like a 2K player.
I think Jason Kidd probably. I move into the 40s. He does have an MVP and a championship.
A what?
A championship. Dallas.
You said an MVP?
Yeah.
Jason Kidd?
I thought Jason Kidd had an MVP. Am I wrong?
I think you're wrong.
No, I don't think so. Steve Nash has 2.
Y'all think Steve Nash should have 2, or y'all think Kobe should have more? Being Kobe fans, I'm just curious on your thoughts.
I was wrong.
I respect Steve Nash's MVPs just as much as I respect Kevin Durant's championships.
Well, I mean, they were also in an area.
Wow.
Your best
Steve
player.
Nash transferred a 29 win team to a 62 win team the next season.
What do you average? Like 18 and
All
11,
right.
something like that?
He averaged 18 and 11.
I mean,
Like you're not. You're.
that was in the area.
I'm not saying I
That was
don't
18 and
respect it.
12.
I just respect it just as much as I respect KD's championships.
It was in a time though where like it was always best player, best team pretty much gets the award. So I think how many wins?
Yeah,
What was the win difference between the Lakers and the
it was a big difference.
the big difference? I mean that's like Jameis Winston throwing 30 touchdowns, second in the league for touchdowns, but the team went 8-8, and then Patrick Mahomes, I don't know how many touchdowns he threw, but his team went, I think, 13-3. I'm not
No,
comparing.
that's like Patrick Mahomes throwing for 45 touchdowns and they going 8-8 and barely making the playoffs, and the team is like got like Ted Ginn, Jericho Cotchery, and then Mitch Trubisky throws for 3,100 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, and the Bears go 15-1, and they give it to Mitch Trubisky.
No, I was saying that's on a point where win total was a big factor in how they decided MVP voting.
No, I hear what you're saying, and I'm not saying that I don't respect his MVPs. Obviously, there are reasons why he got it and reasons that I don't necessarily disagree with, but I just don't believe that I just don't respect him the same way I respect Russell Westbrook's MVP in 2016.
You don't respect that?
2017. No, I'm saying I don't respect it as much as I respect Russell Westbrook's. Just like I don't respect Kevin Durant's championship as much as I respect LeBron's championship in 2016.
All right, so you want to move into the 20s now?
Oh, yeah, we can. So 29-20, Allen Iverson, John Stockton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Dwayne Wade, Kawhi Leonard, David Robinson, Charles Barkley, Elgin Baylor, Scottie Pippen, Kevin Garnett. What are you trying to say about David Robinson?
Giannis.
When I heard Dennis Robinson, the first thing I thought of was Patrick Ewing. I don't know why.
I mean, Robinson was nice though.
David
Robinson was very good. He won the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year.
He had a quadruple double.
2 championships.
Kawhi Leonard.
Even though the second championship wasn't a big role.
Kawhi
Leonard has no business being this high.
Got 2 finals.
Even with two finals MVPs, he has no business being this high. He's had 3 years where he's been a top 10 player.
Yeah. I wouldn't put him again. That's my thing about active players. Unless you're playing 10 years at a really high level and you're an active player, which Kawhi hasn't played at a extremely high level, like a LeBron, KD, Chris Paul.
Bro.
Wade played. I mean, Wade's retired now. And some other players.
Isn't Kawhi Leonard only like a 3-time All-Star? Or is it 4 times?
I think it's 4. He's a great two-way player. I'll give him that.
He is, bro. He's a top 3 player in the NBA right now, bro. But I don't
put him above
25th all time.
Giannis on this list for the same reason. I don't put Harden on this list. I
put Harden on this list.
I think John Stockton could be a little higher, maybe upper 20s.
Yeah, Giannis has no business being on this list either, bro.
I just cut him out.
I can't believe that.
I'll cut Kawhi out. Yeah, Kawhi's a great player, but his career's not. He hasn't played at that.
Yeah, and I know
level.
I know Giannis is about to get back-to-back MVP awards too if the season resumes. But I mean, again, what has he done outside of that?
Y'all put Barkley over
He-
Wade? Just curious. I know. Every time Shaq talks to him, it's rings this, rings that. Barkley's a great player, by all means.
I wouldn't put Barkley over Wade, but
Wade to me,
Barkley should be up there though. Barkley was a bad man.
I'm gonna get my dog real quick.
Okay. John Stockton should probably be a little higher too. He's got 2 records that won't be touched. And that is a product of him playing for so long, but that's also a product of longevity. He would have got some rings if it wasn't for the greatest of all time. It's just unfortunate, but his career marks will not be touched.
How do you feel about Allen Iverson over Isaiah Thomas?
I don't think Allen Iverson should be top 35. Allen Iverson probably needs to go to 40s. And Allen Iverson was a bucket, bro, at his peak. We all know this. He willed the 76ers to the finals, ran to Shaq and Kobe, one of the best dynasties in NBA history. But he has a very weird case. Just because outside of that season, I mean, the Sixers were never really seen as a threat. And the part of that just because he never had a team around them. And the last, the last 6 years of his career were a train wreck. An absolute train wreck.
I just think it's I think it's criminal that Allen Iverson on this list. This list is trash. Like we already know that this list is trash. But I think it's criminal that Allen Iverson is 29 on this list and 29 of 74, and Carmelo Anthony is not on the list. I think that's criminal. I don't think
Allen Iverson should be higher than a player like Ray Allen. I don't know how you feel about that.
I think he should be higher than Ray Allen. I don't think he should be 25 spots higher than Ray Allen, 35 spots higher than Ray Allen. Like he should be higher Ray Allen off of that 2001 season alone. And if Ray Allen is 65, he should be 60. He should be 55.
Yeah.
I just partially heard what y'all were talking about. I definitely think Ray Allen should be way higher on this list than where he is at, especially if Reggie Miller is above Ray Allen. But I do see Iverson and Ray Allen.
The reason Ray Allen is so high is because he's a top 10 cultural icon in the NBA ever. And so
Hey, Ray Allen? Did you mean Allen
Iverson. Allen Iverson.
That's the thing with Allen Iverson. That is his push.
Yeah. He was cool. He was kind of short. He's almost like the anti Steph Curry.
That's what I was thinking.
But he's also like kind of the same person as Steph Curry. Like he may be the build. He may be shorter, cool. But like he's obviously like a little bit more counterculture than Steph Curry is. But you know what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
No, like Scottie Pippen at 21. I don't know if y'all talked about that while I was gone or not.
We're still getting there. Elgin Baylor at 22.
Elgin Baylor was dirty.
I think he has a case to be higher. That's what I'm saying.
What was George Gervin at?
I have to see the rest of the list.
What was George Gervin at?
Louis Irving's top 20. George Gervin was in the 30s, I believe.
Yeah, he was over there with James Harden and them.
I mean, obviously, there's not a lot of film on their play, but I mean, I think they're both great scorers.
George Gervin's in the 40s, I believe.
Wasn't George Gervin? Didn't he mentor Kawhi?
I'm not sure.
If I'm not mistaken.
Also in the 30s, I forgot to mention it. I think George Mikan might need to be a little bit higher. It was a totally different era again. It was the 50s, but he did win 5 championships at the time, and he had a very good career. He averaged 23 and 13 and 3.
What years did
He's
he?
48 to 56. And it says he still owns 3 of the top 12 seasons ever off of win shares.
How many games did they play back then?
Not sure.
Klay Thompson isn't on this list either.
You looked?
Shouldn't be.
You don't think he should be?
Wait, did you look?
No, I just thought about it.
If we're at 21 and Scottie Pippen is here, there is no absolute. I mean,
Scottie Pippen is in a very good place. I like that spot for him.
but I'm saying if Klay Thompson's on this list from what I've seen, I'm just gonna have to dismiss this whole list altogether.
The list messed up when they put Damian Lillard on it.
So
The
it's
list
definitely
when they did.
Carmelo.
started messing up.
Because then you like you bring in the newer guys, but you put in the wrong new guy. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like if any of those, if you're talking about Kyrie, Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, I think if anybody should be
Yeah,
on the
Klay
be
Thompson has a better case than Damian Lillard.
Like Klay Thompson has moments, he has championships, he has offense and defense. Like
Yeah.
you say, what about Harden?
I said other than the MVPs, I think he has a better case than Harden.
I disagree.
He's top 5.
Oh, other than the MVPs, you might be right. Other than the MVP, you might be right. Like I'm not gonna argue.
Very crucial piece in 3 championships. Could have been 4, I think, if he didn't get injured. I think the Warriors still could
Would
have.
have been 4, yes, if him. I think the Warriors would have won that series last year if he wouldn't have got hurt in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I thought it was the third quarter.
It was
It
the
was
fourth. I
still
thought
close.
it was the very beginning of the fourth.
If I'm not mistaken, he's top 5 along with Curry on 3-point makes, but I know he's definitely top 10.
Like off of talent alone, like you don't like Klay Thompson doesn't need to break Stephen Curry's record or Ray Allen's record or anybody's record for most three for you to understand that this guy is
Because
in the
he's
top
a phenomenal
1%.
two-way player, which you don't get from Harden. You get scoring,
Exactly.
you don't get defense.
I was excited for I thought Klay Thompson was going to go to Los Angeles and play with the Clippers. I thought that was what it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be like a different type of like.
I never thought he was going to leave.
I don't
Like-
think he's going to leave Golden State.
You said what?
All right. Y'all want to go ahead and move?
He was
Yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
I knew they were going to choose him over KD.
20 through 10. Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki, Moses Malone, Karl Malone, Jerry West, Julius Erving, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Hakeem Olajuwon,
Why do you use that picture of Steph?
and then Oscar Robertson.
Damn. They got Oscar Robinson quadruple team, bro.
He was nice.
Bro, I don't think Kevin Garnett should be higher all time than Elgin Baylor or Scottie Pippen or David Robinson or Charles Barkley.
He was a really hard defender.
I know, and he has an MVP award.
Why? Obviously he was with.
I'm taking all those guys over him though. That may have been because a lot of KG's prime years got wasted in Minnesota, unfortunately.
Y'all think Dirk's at a good spot, or do y'all put him a little higher?
Dirk's at a good spot.
What's he got on the
I wouldn't put him any higher. I wouldn't put him any higher.
I would. I'm thinking about Dirk and D Wade.
Yeah, I think D Wade should definitely be in the 20s. I believe. I think he should be right here with Scottie Pippen. I'm not calling him.
Like I've always thought of like that 10 to 15 range. I've always thought Dirk, KD, Dwayne Wade in any particular order. That's what I've always thought in terms of my personal top 10.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Personally, I wouldn't put. You said Dirk, KD, and Wade.
In no particular order.
I personally wouldn't put D Wade top 15. I'd have it more in the 15 to 20 spot, 15 to 25, kind of
Okay.
in the area he's placed right now. I'd move him up a little more,
Yeah.
but he does have one of the greatest championship runs ever, and he did that against Dirk.
Yeah.
But Dirk also has one of the greatest championship runs ever.
You do that
Maybe
again.
not as dominant as Dwayne Wade.
Mm-hmm.
Moses Malone's in a very good spot. He was a very dominant player.
R.I.P.
Karl Malone, second best power forward of all time, behind Tim Duncan. If he would have got some championships, you never know. This could be a different story, but he still never would have been the defender that Tim Duncan is. But I think he was a better offensive player. I don't think there's much of an argument there.
Mhm.
But that could also be a product of John Stockton being his point guard.
Yeah, I think both of them together could probably be like 19 and 20.
Him and John Stockton.
Yeah, and no order because I think John Stockton, as far as pure point guard, I think it goes
He's
Magic.
the best pure point ever, him and Magic.
Yeah, I think it goes him and Magic, whatever your preference is. But
I think your point. I'm taking Chris Paul.
yeah, Chris Paul. But I take
Especially-
Stockton over Paul.
Who?
I'd put Chris Paul third behind him.
Isn't Stockton like did he get a DPOI? But I know he was really high in steals.
I don't think he got a DPOY, but he is first all time in steals and first all time in assists.
Yeah, so
And no one is close to coming near him.
in either category, I believe. But again,
No, it's not.
Reggie Miller, Ray Allen. I think he's Chris Paul before Chris Paul. But yeah, I'll take. Damn, what am I trying to say? I take Stockton over Paul as pure point.
Okay.
I think Jerry West is in a very good spot. Part of Jerry West's legacy, though, is losing, and that's one of my things with him. He went 1-9 in the finals.
That's not
I mean,
on him though. I mean, it's a team sport.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, he played against the Celtics. They had 5 Hall of Famers year in, year out. So it's hard to fault him. He is the only player to ever win the Finals MVP on the losing team.
Who did? Yeah, well, that was also the first year they awarded it, so they gave it to the best player for the series, which was the Arsenal LeBron. I'm thinking 15. Any
Yeah.
year lost, pretty much.
Dang, the Cavs really thought they had this game.
Are you watching Game 3 or Game 1?
Yeah, game
All right,
3.
15 is Julius Erving.
Uh,
All right, he got an MVP and a championship, and one of the most iconic just plays in NBA history. His career averages 22, 7, 4, 2, and 2. Great all-around player. So
I can't put
a
him
lot
over.
of his best years came in the ABA.
I can't put him over Dirk as far as greatness.
True.
I can.
True.
I don't know.
Dr. J had also a great cultural impact.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like he has everything Dirk had as far as like just like MVP, championship, and he had the cultural impact that like he's just Dr. J, like the street ball, the under the basket play, it's just like the fro. It's just too iconic.
So, do you know off the top of your head who he beat in '83 for a championship?
It was the Sixers against the
I mean, the Lakers were pretty that time. Was it the Lakers?
I want to say it was the Lakers.
1980.
Was it the Trailblazers? It wasn't the Trailblazers.
It was the Lakers.
Yeah, that's
Was that the Lakers with Magic and
Kareem? Yeah, Magic and Kareem. The Sixers also swept them, but you also have to remember that Moses Malone was also on that team. Who won Finals MVP in that
I
series?
think it's Moses Malone, because it doesn't say anything about a year with
Yeah, because they got that iconic photo after the game. I was so close to going to Zaxby's today, bro.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Moses Malone was the Finals MVP.
Okay. That's why
I think Moses Malone. All right, that was also at the tail end of Dr. J's career. So Dr. J probably was never the best player on the championship team. He was close to Moses, but it was at the tail end of his career.
That's why I kind of have to put Dirk above Dr. J. But again,
that's understandable.
Alpha career accomplishments, I put Dirk above Dr. J.
So next is Kevin Durant. 2-time champion, MVP, career averages of 27, 7, 4, 1, and 1. Also 2 Finals MVPs.
I have a lot to say about KD.
4 scoring titles too.
Yeah, his good defensive years didn't come until he
Golden State.
Yeah, that's where he kind of became a great two-way player. But again, just that move, I don't think any of that is considered greatness. I don't think his Finals MVP are considered greatness just because of how they came. All-time great scorer. By the time he retires,
I'm gonna hold that against him, guys. I can't. If we're gonna hold that against them, then we gotta hold LeBron against him, except for that one ring in Cleveland. And frankly, 95% of the population is over it with LeBron.
I think I still.
It's not quite the same move, but in the amount of talent, it's pretty close.
I'm going through a bucket of hats. I think I still have my OKC hat.
Yeah, I think the thing about KD is like I don't think he's the leader that LeBron is. I don't think he's the cultural icon that maybe like a Dr. J or Allen Iverson is. But like the eye test, the only thing I think KD knew that he was a lot more talented than like the top 3% of anybody that's ever played in the NBA.
And Kevin Durant's more talented than LeBron James.
Okay.
Okay.
But like KD is just so his talent. He's harnessed his talent in such a way that he has become so great in just a player, apart from the championships, apart from the MVPs, that the championships don't really they matter, but they don't really matter when you're assessing him. You know what I'm saying? Like if he didn't have a championship,
we've never seen anyone like him.
We've never seen
his scoring ability, and obviously his MVP year. I mean, what terms of greatness do you have for KD? He's not a great passer because you said he's better than LeBron in his abilities. I don't agree with that. LeBron's an amazing
his scoring ability, though.
His scoring ability is such a premium over almost anybody ever. That and that's what we consider greatness, like scoring. If you can score the ball, like we like our that's who we consider is great, and he does it in such a aesthetic that it looks graceful, it looks great. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not Paul Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just looks like he's like he was meant to play basketball. You know what I'm saying?
It looks like he's trying.
It doesn't. It's so effortless, and so
it's
that
like nonchalant buckets, man.
And it's so efficient. You know what I'm saying? Like Kobe.
I know.
Kobe was artistic.
Did KD get in the 50-40-90 club?
Yep, he was the second person.
I thought so.
Like it's kind of the same thing with Steph Curry. Steph Curry looks a little bit more like he's trying because he's so small, but it's just like you can't even do anything with that. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely agree with having Curry over KD. I mean, Curry pretty much changed the way the basketball played. I can't say pretty much.
He did.
I didn't even notice that Curry was over KD.
Yeah, Curry is 13th.
80-14. I mean, look, you got people just the rocket system now is solely threes. Threes and layups is the rocket. Ever
See,
since
this is
Curry
the
erupted as the Splash Brother, I mean, every year the league is taking more and more and more threes.
yeah.
And I don't think KD changed the game like Curry did. So I
No,
can't.
he didn't. He did.
I
So
mean,
I'm not
Curry's the
mad.
most influential player in the last 20 years.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
20 might be a stretch. But definitely of the 2010s.
It's 2020. Who was more influential than the 2000s? 2000s was ugly basketball.
Yeah.
I think the word you're looking for is like revolutionary. Like
Okay.
influential is a little bit more about like
Well,
impact.
influencing how the game is played in the NBA. That's kind of what I mean.
That's why I said revolutionary, because revolutionary is just like changing things.
I don't know if y'all saw the thing with Trae Young it was a few weeks ago. Well, he pretty much said he wanted to be just like Curry. And you see the way he plays. He plays like a younger Steph Curry. But yeah, I think I got in terms of greatness, I'll definitely put Curry over KD.
I won't definitely do that, but I'm not gonna argue with you. But I won't. I'm not gonna say that I would.
Great scorer, great player, but
His 2016 season, it didn't end the way any of us thought it would. But that is a top 5 season of all time.
Yeah.
Only unanimous MVP.
Like that season was crazy, bro. Like
That season
he was so fun to watch.
You know what gets swept under the rug? The season before that. His playoffs and the season before that was like I was watching the highlights like a couple weeks ago. That junk, it was just like the same. Like you just don't know what you can do with it. Keep going.
Even in like 2013 and 2014 when he started breaking out, like they upset the Nuggets in 2013, I believe, in 6 games. Like and that's when he also dropped 54 in Madison Square. Like it was a slower rise to greatness, but once it hit, bro, it was like a rocket.
And it's still there. I mean, not like I'm not comparing him, but like you said, slow rise to greatness. Y'all remember Lynn Sanity and where he's at now? I mean, but Steph Curry's maintained that level of greatness, and that's why I put him.
Man, I know this is NBA. I know this is NBA too, but Steph Curry was also a revolutionary college basketball player.
I'll give you that. So, anything else I want to talk about in the top 10s? Y'all like Hakeem?
Hakeem Olajuwon is one of the most slept-on players in NBA history. I might move him to top 10. I would put him over Big O.
He's the best all-around center. All around.
Yeah, and I love Oscar Robertson. But I would move Hakeem over him.
And I know we haven't seen Shaq on this list because he was a lot more dominant than Hakeem was, but I think all around terms of player ability at the center position, I'd give it to Hakeem over anybody.
Well, moving to that, number 10, Shaquille O'Neal.
No, hold on. I gotta click.
We'll go one by one here.
Let's just go down. Yeah, Shaq. Top 10? Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Put him on every top 10 list I've ever.
I just hate the last he retired in 2011. I hate like the last 5 years of his career. I feel like he would have done more justice to his career if he retired in like 2007.
So not playing with LeBron and coming off the finals win with Wade.
Yes.
But again, 3 finals MVPs in a row, nonetheless.
Amazing.
Yeah, and 4 championships in 6 years, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. And 2004, they were very close. They got upset by the Pistons. I have no idea how they lost that series.
Ben Wallace.
but they had no business losing that series.
Ben
Chauncey
Wallace on
Billups even
this
said
list?
they had no business winning that series.
Was Ben Wallace on this list at all?
No,
I'm not sure.
there's nobody from that Pistons
No,
team.
no.
Mike would have some words. Yeah, 15-time All-Star. I mean, most dominant big man in my personal opinion. You just cut out Joey. I'm sorry. Trav, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, well, we just lost Joey going into the top 10. That's great. Should I pause this? Joey, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, you
I was
glitched out.
about to touch you. Yeah, I couldn't hear anything.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think Kobe should be higher.
Kobe's at 9. Oh. Yeah,
I will die on the hill going for that. I think Kobe Bryant should be higher.
I mean, even we haven't came across Magic, and I haven't scrolled down, so I assume Magic's higher than him. Every Laker ever has told you Kobe Bryant is the greatest Laker ever, which puts him above Magic.
Kobe Bryant's a top 5 player of all time.
I'll put him in.
That's how I feel. That's the first thing I said. Well, besides Tim Duncan being at number 8, Tim Duncan is a top 10 player all time.
And you got Bird and Magic. I put him above Bird and Magic. Trav?
Okay.
I mean, I know y'all are obviously like super biased, but I was a Kobe fan. Not as diehard as y'all, but I still put him above Bird and Magic in terms of greatness.
I mean, all right, let's be real here. This list, it's career value, matchups, and peak performance. How is Kobe Bryant not top 5?
Kobe Bryant didn't get the MVP on his greatest season.
No, it wasn't Kobe Bryant's greatest season.
One of his greatest seasons. Still didn't.
Kobe got robbed of like 3 MVPs. Well, I mean, if you consider Steve Nash robbing, if you look at Westbrook getting MVP in 2017.
Yeah, a lot of people said this should be Harden's, but I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, if they would have voted like that in like 06 and 05, Kobe would have 3 MVPs.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't, but he would.
Yeah, we're going off of career accomplishments. 2 Finals MVPs.
Yes.
1 MVP, and then 5 rings, where he was the 1 and 2 option for all of them.
He was probably the best player in the league from, I'd say, 05 to 2010.
But what
he was
about
the best player in the league 5 seasons?
Top 3 player in the league.
Top 3 in the league. He was the top 3 player in the league till he tore his Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably a top 3 player from like 04 to 2013, in my opinion.
I'm gonna scroll down to number 8, Tim Duncan. I'm not gonna talk about Kobe until we get into the top 5, just to tell you players I would put him above. Because on my personal list, I have Kobe as the 3rd greatest all time. Tim Duncan, no doubt, easily top 10 player, best power forward. Average 19 and almost 11, but even with the Spurs system, I don't think you can go off the statistics based on their system.
Can we please talk about Bill Russell?
Oh yeah, Bill Russell. Hold on. Y'all tell me Bill Russell's above 8 right here? No disrespect to them, but
bro, that's if you look at how they categorize this list, why is Bill Russell number 4? He is the best winner in American sports history, but if you look at the context of this list, he has no business being top 20.
I can go off of before.
Look at the context of the list, bro.
There is no context of the list. There is no uniformity in this list at all.
I know. I'm just taking what they said, bro. I mean, He won 5 MVPs, but why did he ever win those over Wilt Chamberlain?
Wait, why are we talking about 4 when you said we were going one by one and we're on number 8?
I'm sorry, I asked if we could talk about Bill Russell.
I mean, I can't give it to a big man pre-1980 because there wasn't a lot of other big men to challenge them.
I don't think Bill Russell was the best big man of his own era. I think
didn't he play like 30 games?
Chamberlain was better than him.
Didn't they play like 30 games?
I'm not sure, but there was only 8 NBA teams for most of his career.
Exactly. So
he also had 5 Hall of. Every time, every point of his career, he had 5 Hall of Famers on his team.
And you had a 1 in 4 chance to get into the finals.
Yeah.
Did they do it 4 and 4 conference back then? I assume.
And
I
hate doing it because I don't want to take away from him because he's the greatest winner ever in terms of team sports. But in terms of just like playing basketball, and he's just not there. He's not number 4. He's not better than Magic Johnson. He's not better than Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Kobe,
I mean, he's not
Shaq.
But if you're going by that, he's not better than Kevin Durant.
He said 20s.
If he's going by that, he's not better than like a lot of people. Like I think this is what we have to do with sports because
Bill Russell
sports,
never averaged 20 points a game.
This is what we have to do with professional sports in America right now. We have to pay homage to the elders, to those guys, whoever that may be. We have, and so like there are a lot of things, especially if a guy won 11 rings and he was out here being a civil rights activist and the finals MVP trophy is named after him. Like you can only bring them so low. You know what I'm saying? You just can't. They're like in anything. There are coaches in the NFL right now that know more about know more about football than Vince Lombardi ever could. But Vince Lombardi will always be top 5 until like the football is 500 years old and nobody remembers him anymore. Mm-hmm. Like you just have to, when you have a top 10 list, you have to put Bill Russell in it. You have to put where is Wilt Chamberlain in this list?
Yeah, let me scroll down and just ruin the rest of the list for myself. Number 6. Hold on, so Magic and Bird aren't there together? Just curious. I figured they'd be right together. Kind of like I thought Stockton and Malone would be.
Joey, you suck, man.
I'm back, bro. I think. Uh-oh.
So, Larry Bird at 7. Obviously great.
That's a great spot for Larry.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with it.
I didn't get the reply to Travis about.
You was talking about Bill Russell, how you have to pay homage to the greats. Trophy was named after Bill Russell for the Finals MVP, so you can't just oust him out the top 10, pretty much.
You can't. You just can't.
It's really hard for me. He played in the same era as Wilt Chamberlain, who averaged 50 points a game and 25 rebounds, and he never averaged over 20 points a game himself, and he never shot over 50% while he was 6'10" in the 1960s.
Yeah, and it's interesting It's interesting how a lot of people poo-poo Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game and his 50 points and 25 rebounds, but nobody poo-poos Bill Russell's 11 championships. The question is why? Because
he won, bro.
Because he won, because of the cultural impact too, and it's just who the powers that be choose to champion. It's just who they choose to champion, and so who they choose to champion, the people that come after them. Obviously, like you're not gonna go to anybody, whether it's LeBron James or whether it's Wilt Chamberlain's son that doesn't think Bill Russell is a top 5 player in the NBA.
You
And
said Otto Porter?
huh?
You said Otto Porter?
No.
All right.
Who doesn't think Bill Russell is one of the best, the greatest of the greatest in NBA history? And it's not, and that, like those are just the older people. We live by a different standard now. It's just different now. You cannot judge LeBron James by the same standard you judge Bill Russell by,
Well,
because he
all right.
came way much later.
So I won't do that, but I will compare him to other players in his time period, and he wasn't better than Jerry West. He wasn't better than Elgin Baylor. He wasn't better than these people I'm listing off. Like,
But he
he
wasn't
just
greater.
won, and it's like he just won. It's like it cancels everything out, which I think is unfair. I don't think Bill Russell should be higher than Jerry West. I don't think Bill Russell should be higher than Wilt Chamberlain.
The list is about greatness, and that's where win totals come in.
That's not what this list is, though. ESPN's list.
This list is
According, I'm taking their words from it.
First of all, this list is not. This list isn't allegiant to what it says in its description, because everything about it is just contradictory. But one thing that we can say is that most top 5 lists had Bill Russell in them.
Mm-hmm. And mostly when I make a top 5 list, I don't include Kareem or Bill, only just, again, for the reason just because they played in such a different era. Obviously, they were.
Well, Kareem played until 91, bro.
Yeah,
right?
I include Kareem. I don't include Bill and Wilt. But I'm talking about
Okay, I'm sorry.
Kareem played for a long time,
I meant
bro.
Bill and Bill. I'm sorry. I meant Wilt and Bill.
Okay.
These played so long ago.
I'm talking about the guys that are writing these articles. I can understand why the guys that are writing the men and women that are writing these articles are putting Bill Russell in there. I can understand that. I'm not mad at that.
We got Wilt and Bill. I can't just put in a top 5 argument only because, like Joey said, there were 8 teams. I don't think they played more than. I think they played 32 game seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Feel free to quote me on that. Or check me on that. But I just can't put them in there because they didn't have the competition that the modernized NBA post 1980, I would say, has, or even in the 70s. But really, I think that the early 80s starts to become a lot more competition. When was the merger?
Okay. I think 76.
Okay, so pretty much since the merger. That's just, I just can't put them in there.
All right, let's get down to business.
Top 3.
Top 3. Well, basically top 2.
Kareem at 3. I mean, I can see it.
Sorry, I just had
38,000 points. 6 MVPs? Yeah, 19-time All-Star. 15 All-NBA teams. 6 championships. There's not much to argue. He played from 69 to 89. He played 20 years. He played in multiple eras.
So what is it? I'm going to ask you guys this question. What is it about Michael Jordan that makes him greater than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, in your opinion?
Greater than Kareem?
Yes.
Man retired 3 times. And is still retired at the time, 3rd in scoring. I believe if Michael didn't retire 3 times, he'd probably.
He was the best player on 6 championship teams.
Mm-hmm.
5 MVPs, and this is with him sitting out finals. Years of his prime.
Yeah. I think if Michael doesn't retire, maybe retires in 98 like he did and comes back, say the Wizards or something. I think Michael probably goes 8-1 in the finals. Or say retires 99, I'm sorry. I think
if he didn't retire, we know he'd have at least 7 championships. He would have got one in 94, 95, or he would have got one of them.
They would have beat them.
I know he came. Wait. I know he came back in 95 and they lost to the Magic, but he had been back for 2 months.
Yeah, he
from playing baseball.
34 and 31 when he joined the team. So, I mean, still.
It's hard to judge that just because I mean it was kind of just the instant, I'm back.
Yeah.
And then in that season they won the championship. It went back to normal.
I think Michael goes 8-1 if he never retires. Average 30 for his career. Nobody else can boast that.
Defensive Player of the Year at guard position. It's not very common.
Yeah. I would say just the argument with LeBron's better all around.
Yeah.
But nobody do it like Mike, bro. And it's
also, bro, the mentality of Michael Jordan, that destroyer mentality, it's been brought to the argument between LeBron and MJ before. That mentality of MJ, it's so special. Like going to the Last Dance, like, bro, I love seeing him just go at people. I mean, it reminds me of Kobe, which I mean he was Kobe before Kobe, but that's just so special.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone has that. I don't think LeBron has that. I don't think any of those people in the top 10 have that. And it's really what separated him.
Mm-hmm. And I think even with The Last Dance, I know you didn't want to talk about it very much until we conclude it, but I think it kind of puts in perspective because a lot of people our age, don't watch a lot of Michael. But that's kind of where like the modern NBA, they're like, hey, yeah, we grew up watching Michael, or even Kobe. But I think it just puts it into perspective for a lot of people, a lot of younger people that love basketball, how just great Michael was. Or even
he's also incredibly efficient at the guard position in a very strong defensive era of basketball.
I mean, y'all even just the Jordan rules. I think what episode was that? 3 and 4. Was it 3 and 4? Yeah, you've been quiet for a minute, Chad. Let's hear it, Chad.
What?
You've been quiet for a minute. I just want to hear what you got to say.
Your thoughts?
Look, man, is Michael Jordan? Yeah, he's the greatest of all time. He's the greatest of all time. Is he the best of all time? No, he's not the best of all time.
That's your argument.
I personally, this is the thing. MJ fans be using the wrong arguments against LeBron. They just be using the wrong arguments. Like Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp busts Skip Bayless up every time they have the argument because
Shannon Sharp too old to be riding another professional athlete like that, bro. I'm gonna keep real with you.
I mean,
Shannon Sharp is a fanboy, bro, and he's one of the best football players of all time.
I mean, it's just. I don't think there's a problem with that, but anyway, like. It's like the thing like he just busts him up like whenever you're talking about like every little thing because to defend
who wouldn't bust Skip Bayless up
like to defend Michael Jordan has now become to discredit LeBron James like it just becomes synonymous and in terms of a career and in terms of just being just the what's the word all the odds, just overcoming all the odds. Like, I don't think Michael Jordan has a greater moment than LeBron James Game 7, 2016. I don't think he has a greater moment.
It's a greater moment.
Like I don't think like in terms of like maybe it's just because I lived through it, like kind of, but not really. But it's just that LeBron's teams go.
I hear you, bro.
Go like it's just LeBron's teams are a lot more dependent on LeBron, and that is by design. That's by design because LeBron is a player that you can't just plug in. He's not like a Kevin Durant or anything like that. You have to design it around him, and that's a part of the reason why the teams crumble when they're gone. But and I am not hearing the conversation, the competition conversation. I'm not hearing it. I'm just not. Like,
Well, with
I'm
Golden
just not.
State, yeah, that's understandable.
I'm not hearing the
Bro,
competition conversation.
bro, I truly believe one series separates LeBron and Jordan. It, that 2011 Finals was dreadful, bro. That's not a greatest of all time player from Finals, bro.
It's
Jordan
a
did not
it's
have
a
that.
it's a second greatest of all time.
You said what?
It's a second greatest of all time moment.
No, what I'm saying is, if you're gonna put them head to head, that knocks down LeBron, in my opinion.
I think I think that the reason why 25 years from now the narrative will change and it won't be anything wrong with that is because of LeBron James's failures. Because a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in this Last Dance thing is the ebbs and flows of Michael Jordan's career. And a lot of it was off the court, but a lot of it was like just like team stuff, like going through this stuff on the team. Yeah, we blowing everybody out. We winning 60 games a year, but like going through all this stuff, and I'm punching Steve Kerr and homie ain't getting paid like he should. He out for the season. Yeah, we did just blow Golden State out 65 to 135, but like I think the reason why LeBron James's career, I think, is a little bit more interesting and a little bit greater than Michael Jordan's is because of those ebbs and flows and because of the really, really low that the Dallas Mavericks series was and the really, really high, the height that the Golden State series was.
I don't think that
And
makes them better, though.
I mean, LeBron James is the better player. I think LeBron James is the better player, but I just think
I
that
would
we're
take
gonna.
Jordan on my team before I take LeBron.
I think what Joey's kind of saying uh, about how Jordan doesn't have those lows, and that's what separates them. Like, yeah, I think you're saying the
And
lows.
it's not just like he has lows, but he didn't have his low in the brightest of lights.
Yeah, and his
LeBron
lows,
folded in the brightest of lights.
I
There's no
think
question.
as low, and his highs were just as high.
I would argue that though that was not the brightest lights LeBron James has ever seen. I would
I'm
argue
just
that
saying I'm saying the NBA Finals is the brightest of lights.
yeah, but I would say that LeBron James, the brightest lights LeBron James has ever been under is Game 6 in in Boston that next year. Because if they lose that game, they're breaking up the Heat. LeBron James is his legacy was literally on the line, like from being a top 10, a top 5 player to not being a top 10 player, and he can't he showed up in Game 7 against the 73-9 Warriors at Oracle. Like, your legacy is literally on the line and you show up. You know what I'm saying? That
See
like that
that's the thing though. He has that, but he also has the obvious failures
yeah, he
in
has
the
the really
NBA
really
Finals.
low.
But bro, like you can't argue with that 6-0.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with the 6-0, and I think that's like the reason why like this is kind of to Michael Jordan's point. I'm not arguing that the list should be flip flopped. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm just arguing on behalf of LeBron James fans, and now I'm arguing on behalf of Michael Jordan's supporters. Like, to have a standard, the standard has to be a lot higher than anybody can conceivably get. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Tom Brady would have stopped winning championships after he beat the Seahawks and had four Super Bowl championships, then I would still have Joe Montana over him. And depending on when you ask me, I might still have Joe Montana over him. But since he's got 6, and that's so much farther than anybody else will ever conceivably get again, and because Mike has 6 and he never lost and he got Finals MVP every single time, that's really, really, really hard to replicate. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why make the standard irrationally high. You know what I'm saying? So that like if you do become the greatest, you are the greatest. Like there's no question about it. And Nick Wright made. I'm sorry, I'm going on. This is the last point I'll make. Like Nick Wright made this point. Michael Jordan was deemed the greatest player of all time after he won his first three-peat. Like that was already like the consensus. Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time.
And then he retired.
LeBron also never three-peated once.
Man's retired in his prime, came back and did it again, and then retired again.
So let's just say Michael Jordan never got the other three, and LeBron James has the career that he has. Is Michael Jordan still the greatest?
Is Michael still?
Bro, I don't know. I feel like that's almost like a Tupac and Biggie argument, bro. Because like we have them top 5 all time, and they don't have like a huge body of work.
But were they stamped top 5 all time? Obviously, rap is a little bit younger than basketball is.
When they died.
When they died.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. If they were, that's one thing, but I don't know if they were. I don't know if they were. And so when you're looking from that way, obviously when he was first given the mantle, it wasn't about 6-0. It wasn't about 6 MVPs. It wasn't about the shot against Utah. It was just about the eye test, and you had the championships to validate it.
But who were the greats before that? I mean, people are always talking about Magic and Bird, but neither one of them ever three.
Magic, Bird, and Will, Bill,
Kareem, and Bill, and Will.
But none of them three-peated.
Yeah, and that was another thing. The three-peat was really important. Three-peat was really important. I know, but after the first three-peat, he was already the greatest.
People to do that after he did it again.
Yeah.
And then nobody's done it since.
Yeah.
So he might have already been the greatest after that first three-peat, but did the second three-peat like put it in concrete?
Yeah,
bro?
yeah. It just put him above everybody else. Is what I'm saying. But I'm just saying that it's not out of the realm of possibility because Magic had 5.
Mm-hmm. Magic also lost in the finals like 4 times, right?
He still had 5.
Still had 9.
Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had 6. Bill Russell had 11. So obviously it's not just the rings thing. It's obviously something other than that.
Well, it's also Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's probably the greatest finals performer of all time too.
I wish Michael never retired because like we wouldn't have to have this argument. I believe. I think he'd be number 1 all time scoring. That would probably still hold. He'd probably have at least 7.
Yeah, bro. He had 32,000 points in only like 13 seasons.
He averaged 30 for life. He would
have had the all-time scoring record. He would have been in that ballpark if you don't take away those 2 regular seasons and he doesn't retire after 98. If you add those 3 seasons in, he'd be the all-time leading scorer.
Easily score.
I mean, we can play the what if game. Like,
but it's almost not like a what if though, because he retired in his prime and then he came back and just picked up right where he left off.
No, it's definitely a what if because if he picked up right where he left off, then he wouldn't have lost to the Magic in that series in 1995. But if we're gonna play the
left, then he would have won.
How can you say that? If he just picked off right where he left off, he picked up right where he left off. He can't.
Bro. Come on, man.
All right.
Did LeBron go play baseball? No. Okay.
This is the thing. LeBron James is going to end up top 3 all time, maybe even first all time, and he's not even imagine if LeBron James was actually trying to be out here with that killer mentality. We can play that what if game, and he wasn't trying to pass first. We can play that one.
Retiring in your prime, though.
Huh?
Mentality is a whole different ballpark than retiring in your prime.
Mentality, you can't just acquire mentality, bro. You born.
That's not something you can just pick up. Like
this is the thing. This is the thing about this mentality, John. It's obvious that his mentality was win, like leadership, all this stuff. What type of mentality just quits, like, because it's young hard, and I'm
His
in my,
dad died.
and then come back?
His dad died.
Well, the first time was because his father died, bro.
Okay,
The
His dad
second
wanted him to play baseball, bro.
time was I three-peated again. What else do I need to
The
like
second time was Phil Jackson's gone, so I'm going. Fuck y'all.
exactly like what else?
what kind of mentality is that?
I three-peated
Kobe
twice.
quit on the Lakers too, bro. Don't forget that. LeBron
Kobe
quit too. I mean,
Kobe quit. Kobe, they didn't retire. If Kobe would have like, I'm not getting traded, I'm retiring, then that's
bro,
one
bro,
thing.
bro the
Like,
first,
I'm not.
the first time though, it wasn't a mentality thing with the retirement, bro. He wanted to go be the best at something else because that's what his father wanted. His father wanted him to be a baseball player. They grew up playing baseball.
But what I'm saying is, obviously, Kobe and Mike have the same mentality, right? Could you ever think about anything happening where Kobe was in his prime and retiring? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Do you think that is in the realm of possibility? I don't. I think that
No, because I
the
think Kobe wanted to be better than Mike.
If
is like
Kobe,
this.
if
This is the
Kobe,
thing.
Jordan was already the best. He had nothing to prove.
yeah, he was
Home,
called the best
my
after.
thing. My
Was
thing
he ever
is,
called the best at that point in his career? Was he
hmm?
called the greatest ever to touch a basketball?
Yes, he was.
Like
See,
that in his prime.
Kobe never got there. So it's hard to say. I mean, if Kobe was called the greatest player of all time, maybe, but Kobe was always chasing Jordan.
Okay, I understand. I understand that. But what I'm saying is,
Jordan
the
had nothing left to chase.
if the thing is, it's not about the chase. Like he said in the last dance, if I'm not mistaken, that was never his goal. You know what I'm saying? That was
He
never
did
his goal.
say he wanted to be the best. He said he wanted to be the best, though.
But he never. But he wanted to be the best on the court every single given time. Like he never thought to be like the top, like above those things. Like starting out. Like what I'm saying is this: the act of retiring and knowing good and well that he was like, will I come back? I don't, like he said that at his press conference. I may come back. Maybe if I feel like coming back, I'm going to come back. Maybe I'm not. Like that's not consistent with the win at all costs. Uh, 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 be the best. Go to you can't go no more. That's not. It's not consistent with that mentality thing. I'm not saying that the mentality thing is overblown, but I'm also saying that a mentality like that isn't necessarily a premium over a mentality like a LeBron. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's different. And I think people gravitate towards it more because it's just ruthless and that's how we like our sports to be competitive.
Well, I mean, LeBron's deference arguably costed him the 2011 finals. That's part of the mentality. Like
LeBron's what cost LeBron the 2011
LeBron
final.
deferred in 2011, bro.
He defers a lot. He deferred in 2016 to Kyrie. He defers a lot. But what that like his games, the only thing that changed about his game from 2011 to 2012 was the post work and stuff like that. Not like LeBron James wasn't a totally different player like like between those 2 years. The only thing that changed about his mentality as far as passing the ball in clutch moments, it like nothing changed. He still deferred to Kyrie. Sometimes he still
He
deferred to
didn't.
D Wade. Sometimes
Look at game 6, 2013. You scored like their last 17 before Ray Allen hit that three. He
that's what
even
I'm
took the
saying.
shot right before there, bro.
I said sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes he deferred D Wade. Maybe he will be in the regular season, maybe, but he definitely deferred to Kyrie a lot in Cleveland. Yes or no? And that's when
Well,
I believe he was at his absolute prime. Like it's just like mental,
I think
physical,
Cleveland
everything.
was his prime.
I think 2016 was his, as far as mental, as far as leadership, as far as everything on top of the physical. Like I will always like I've had this conversation with you. I think that Kobe Bryant was in his prime during that repeat year 2000 2009, 2010 because of the mental aspect. I don't think prime is just physical. If you're in your physical prime, then you're saying, where's your physical prime at? That's one thing. If you're talking about just prime, then I think like that's you. I don't think you're in your prime if you're not competing for championships and you're not out here like putting your best on the floor. I don't think you're in your prime.
Do you see why he did it though? Like why he chose to retire and everything?
I understand that. I understand why.
So do you think Russell
retired.
Westbrook's prime was 2012?
No,